at some point, this whole space is just going to be blank walls. And then the next video, I won't even be in it. So, getting closer to having everything packed up. The downsizing continues. The move towards minimalism continues. I hope that we are moving towards minimalism. Otherwise, what was the point of all this? But it's kind of interesting because we actually don't know where we're going next yet. Everything's kind of up in the air, and we're still kind of figuring it out. So who knows where we will be in 1 month or 2 months from now. So if you have ideas or suggestions, let me know. The sort of tentative plan is for us to get into an apartment in the Domain in Austin, but we're not sure if we have to do some traveling first now or not. Who knows what's going to happen. So looking forward to finding out, though. It'll all blend into research is what's going to happen, which is what I wanted to talk about today, because I did an interview yesterday and they asked me about research for my book, specifically location research. Now, if you are following me on YouTube and other platforms, honestly, I already did a short about this, and I talked a little bit about what I'm going to discuss here. But in terms of research, when it comes to locations, one of the things that I do is go to those locations, but I don't go to every location. Specifically, there's places on the planet that I have written about that I couldn't survive. So I can't exactly go to like war zones and things like that. But I can write about them because I can read about them. I can watch videos and things to get an idea of those places. One of the tools I use a lot is Google Earth. So if I haven't been to a place, or if I haven't been there in a while, I can go on Google Earth and actually take a walking tour of a place. Google Earth uses a combination of things, satellite imagery and 3D modeling and stuff like that. So you can actually go into some areas on the planet that people don't tend to go. So now it's been really useful for me to do Google Earth with cities and things that I write about, because Street View will actually let me see the actual streets, and they're fairly up to date. I mean, it's not up to the minute or anything, but you can kind of get an idea. Like, you can move through an environment and see, where the shops are, where the alleys are, kind of get an idea of what the graffiti looks like, things like that. Stuff you can pick up details that way that you could usually only get if you were physically there. And then I watch a lot of videos, a lot of stuff on YouTube about the places that I'm writing about. I like to get, there's for nearly every location you can think of, there is somebody who has done some sort of video tour of the whole thing. So I like to watch some of those, because you can kind of get an insider's view sometimes. Kind of get a little bit of a glossy look at these places, but every now and then someone talks about some aspect of some location that just kind of triggers a little detail. There's like a little nudge that you can pick up that will allow you to expand, and that becomes great detail for a scene. I also, of course, go to places. Kara and I spent 3 years doing van life, and before that, a few years before that, we did 3 years of RV life, and we traveled to places, and mostly in the United States, but we have been outside the U.S. Frequently, and so we've been able to experience these places firsthand. And I always sort of, I don't know, I have a kind of eidetic memory when it comes to places I've visited. I don't know why that is, but I will actually have very vivid flashbacks of random spots, the most random spots you can think of, the most random details in a place. And I end up using that stuff all the time. I'm not kidding when I say this. Like, for example, I will just be trucking along, doing my thing, and suddenly have a memory of, here's one. This is a recent one. I had a memory of a laundromat, a dry cleaner that was in Colorado Springs, that was a place we needed to get some laundry done. It was a wash and fold place. We just needed some laundry done, and so we pulled in, dropped things off, and left. And then we came back 2 or 3 hours later, and everything was washed and cleaned for us. Why do I remember that place so vividly? I don't know, but I can tell you down to the signage in the windows what it looked like. It was just something about it that stuck with me. That's the way these details are for me, and then I ended up writing that into a scene in a story recently. So, visiting a place is handy and important because you can get those little details. That's the stuff I pay attention to when I'm traveling, by the way. It's one of the reasons why I have this habit of walking a city, especially if I'm in a brand new city. And it's dangerous. I would not recommend this for just anybody, but for some reason, when I get to a city, I don't feel like I know that place until I've had a chance to just walk randomly. And I will do quite a walk if I get the opportunity. Several years ago, Kara had through her work, she had to go to Seattle, and I tagged along. And I spent my days walking Seattle, and I ended up in some not great places. I have one memory in particular. I won't go into the details, but it involved people doing some rather disgusting things in public. And I remember walking past discarded needles and having to be careful, and walking past tent cities and things like that. But I also walked through some beautiful neighborhoods in some areas of Seattle that I think most people probably have never seen. And it's remarkable to me because that city is very walkable. It's just not always that safe. A lot of cities are like that. But having done that, then whenever I write anything set in Seattle, I've got my memories of that place that I can draw on. And if I need a refresh, I go on Google Earth and I do that. So anyway, that's how I handle research for locations. If I can go to a place, I do try to go there because there's just nothing quite like being in a space. I try to capture details that I think only someone who is there would be able to notice. So I pay attention to things like graffiti and the way a place smells, and just sort of the relationship of one spot to another. How is the city laid out? Is it a grid, or are there a lot of curves? Are there lots of trees? Do people maintain lawns? Things like that. These little details may not work into every story, but they're there, and even if I don't write about it, I know about it. So there's a vibe and an energy that I can sort of tap into and possibly convey on the page. So I actually like that. I like going to new places. I like the novelty of a new place. So I spend a lot of time when we are traveling just trying to be there, just trying to be a part of it, and see it from locals' eyes. When we were in the van, I talked about this in the short, but both when we were in the van and in the RVs, that was something that was a great advantage because we would light in a place and might be there for weeks or months. And so I could actually start to experience that place the way someone local would experience it. Possibly not as richly detailed as an actual local would experience it. Like, I didn't know all the nuances of a place, but I knew it well enough to be able to write it down and describe it, and to make it feel like this person knows where they are. So I can mention real landmarks or real the real street names, things like that. I remember in one of my early Dan Kotler books, I wrote about Oklahoma City, and that was because I was working with Draft to Digital, and I was visiting Oklahoma City like every few months, and so I had details from that place. I knew about these statues that I wrote about, and I knew about the waterways, and I knew the layout of Bricktown. So because I had been there so often, I was able to draw on those details. I was able to add some facets to the story that made it feel more real. Gave it some richness and texture. I don't know if if readers are interested in this, and that's who I'm hoping I'm mostly talking to, but if you do creative work, you probably do something very similar. But even if you're not creating things, I do recommend getting out in the world and seeing it as often as possible, or exploring it digitally as often as possible as well, just because experiencing these things has changed me, not just as a writer, but as a person. Like the experience of being places, seeing things, meeting people, always changes me a little and always enhances me a little. So it gives me something to draw on in my creative work, but also just in my life. I learn things about myself in these environments, and I learn things about, I learn new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things. So I do encourage travel, but even if you don't get to travel physically, I encourage looking around online. There's lots of ways to experience a place now. So I know that some of you, I get email from some of you from time to time to tell me that you can't travel anymore. You're, due to age or due to, illness or something. And I love getting those emails, because a lot of people thank me for the environments I create in my books. It's their way of traveling. Books are another wonderful, marvelous way to travel the world. So anyway, just wanted to talk about that. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a companion video to my Substack, so look for the link to the Substack post in the description of this video. If you're coming here from Substack, thank you, and I hope that you will subscribe here on YouTube. If you are watching this at all, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. Leave a comment, because that tells YouTube how you are engaged with this stuff. And let me know, actually, in the comments, like, what are some of your travel experiences? What are the details that you zoom in on when you are in a place? And do you use that for anything? Are you a creator? Are you a writer? Or are you just fascinated by a certain aspect of the places you visit? I like to see the various types of graffiti. That's just a thing I pay attention to sometimes. There's a lot of stuff like that. So let me know what your thing is. And otherwise, we'll wrap up, and I'll see you next time.